some time has gone, I see where I was wrong. Probably was the clear sign of losing. Now what's left for me is only what I see. The rest of it's my higher powers choosing. Shepherd of the highway, keeper of the road.
What we're going to do is do a little walk down memory lane with you and try not to bore you with it, but one way to do it is to look at records, okay? So I started pulling out records. I've got a few of them. We've got some stored in my basement. But we did, I was surprised, we did 9 records in 10 years, which is a lot of recording. And that was between 65 and 74, so actually 9 years. We did a record every year. And somehow did that and did a lot of singing on the road and actually finished college, okay, which was kind of amazing when you don't go to school on Mondays.
And medical school as well.
Huh?
Medical school as well.
Well, yeah, in my case, that was really lucky. But so anyway, what we're going to do is I just kind of look at these records and say, well, what was the song that kind of went with that period, you know? And so first record was called My Lord, What a Morning. Where is that record?
It's in the... Yeah, it's the second one, I think.
This one. This was a cool record because it was in front of a really cool church, okay? And we all dressed alike. You know, we dressed identical. And we acted like we were pretty cool and knew what we were doing, you know. The guy that helped us do this had a Bible publishing company in Nashville, a guy named Sam Marks. And it was recorded at Southern Adventist University in the radio station with a 3-track recorder. Okay, so we just would record it live with 3 tracks and hopefully we got it right? Couldn't go back and fix it. And surprisingly, if you look at the list of songs, we still, in our concerts, do at least 3 or 4 of these, you know, from that original album in '65. So that shows you how unimaginative we are. Anyway, this is one that's My Lord, What a Morning.
My Lord, what a morning. My Lord, what a morning. My Lord, what a morning. When the stars begin to fall. Oh, will you cry for the rocks and the mountains? Will you cry for the rocks and the mountains? Will you cry for the rocks and the mountains? When the stars begin to fall. My Lord, what a morning. My Lord, what a morning. My Lord, what a morning. When the stars begin to fall.
Will there be time to find salvation? Will there be time to find salvation? Will there be time to find salvation? When the stars begin to fall.
My Lord, what a morning. My Lord, what a morning. My Lord, stars begin to fall. Is that the way you remember it?
Yeah, we'll do another song or two off of that record later. Then we did one called "Come Follow Me," and this was particularly a special picture because it was taken in front of a very ugly bridge on the Tennessee River. I mean, it's the ugliest picture you could ever imagine upon a record album. Why would anybody want to follow you in front of that big ugly bridge? But the idea was it was kind of based upon a song called
Come Follow Me.
Come Follow Me, yeah. And I will make you fishers of men. Come follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And at once they left their nets, and followed the Lord. So that was that one. We didn't do many of these songs in concert. Well, Jacob's Ladder's on here. We were climbing Jacob's Ladder. That's one we're really sick of. And Just As I Am. That's one. We did.
Joy song.
Oh, the Joy song. Yeah, this is one that we did for the kids, right? The Joy song. That's a good one. See, that's C. That's what key's that?
This is B flat.
Okay, you got to sing with us on this one.
Yeah. This is one we did while we were at Newbold. And what's interesting or meaningful for me is that whenever we sing these songs, I remember the classroom where we worked out the arrangement, or just where we were on campus.
Where were we?
We were in Mrs. Maxwell's typing room.
Was she in there typing, or were we just in there practicing? We were doing our 10,000 hours.
One of our long Sunday rehearsals. No school. Yeah.
That was before naps.
I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. I've got the love of Jesus down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I've got the love of Jesus down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Down in my heart.
This is why I get to act like a bad boy.
I know the devil doesn't like it, but it's down in my heart. Down in my heart, down in my heart. I know the devil doesn't like it, but it's down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. I've got the victory of Christ my Savior down in my heart. Down in my heart. Down in my heart. I've got the victory
So that song got us into the primary tent, so we were making progress, you know. Well, you want to do Just As I Am?
No, let's look at the list again, or move on to another period.
Just As I Am was a song we did at New Bowl. Toward the end, we started going downtown and singing at the New Gallery Center, which was an evangelistic center that was on
Regent Street.
Regan Street. Yeah, so it was Regent Street, right down near the Piccadilly. So it was kind of a cool place to go on the weekends and sing. And we got used to doing a bunch of concerts down there. And they don't like to sing one of the songs that we sang there, so we'll move on. So we did, that's our second religious song, and then we did a secular record, 2 religious records, and we decided to do a secular record. And this came out about the time that Kennedy was shot, about the same time. And is that correct?
Requiem for Old Boys on that one?
No,
Didn't it?
this one.
Not on that one.
No, but I'm just saying this. We're not going to sing anything out of this because it's all songs like Woe Mule Woe and Shady Grove and Old Cowhand, stuff like that. Take This Hammer, Kangaroo Song. Okay, so then we had an idea. We said, let's do a record that has both religious and secular music on it, right? So that, you know, you could, because at that point we were starting to say that this kind of music, religious music, should be 7-day-a-week music. It shouldn't just be weekend music, you know. So we started thinking 7-day-a-week music. And so we all started asking important questions, like if the truth were known, right? Whatever that means. So that's the name of this record. If the truth were known, then who knows? So pack up your sorrows, Ora Lee, summertime, you know, summertime and the living is easy. We could do that one here. Yeah. Requiem for a Little Boy, which is one we wrote. So that's the first song we wrote together. And Don was busy reading Time magazine when it happened and missed out. But is that right?
It probably wouldn't have been such a successful song if I had...
If you'd been part of it?
Yeah.
You're probably right. No, Don actually was very good at following instructions. Once we'd written the song, he was perfectly happy to sing it with us. So what key is this, in D?
This is in D.
Is that right? I can't remember.
Well, this was written in my living room in Glendale one Sunday, and I'd been lugging this thing around by then for 4 years, and it was getting a little heavy, and so that's when I finally wised up and decided that I should learn a new instrument. And this is one of the first songs that we recorded that included some harmonica.
Where did we record this record?
At
Lauren Whitney Studios.
Downtown Glendale.
Yeah.
Lauren Whitney was a big-time organist and had his own studio and a built-in pipe organ in the middle of the studio. It was quite fancy. And actually, on a subsequent album, we actually used that pipe organ when we recorded A Mighty Fortress. Well, yeah.
Which we probably aren't going to do tonight, right?
Right. Got room for it. You could put that in, probably, okay.
It's on, the Mighty Fortress is on Revival, I think.
You know, I'm really feeling kind of honored that this class, and I think primarily it's the class of 69-70, right? Because I really never taught any of you guys. I just knew you by reputation. And I've also said, Nancy, that was the hardest job I ever had. But we must have done something right, huh? somebody
Let's get the
did.
tempo up.
Smile at the sun and he'd laugh at the moon. Bedtime would always come too soon. But then one day his mother took him away to a land where the trees never grow.
Now he sits all alone on a cold hard curb,
watching the autos rushing by. Gone is the clear look of light from those eyes that have shed many tears, many a lonely night. His days have lost their ring, the birds no longer sing to this boy from that hill not far away. Because he can't catch fish in a swimming pool, and he can't climb trees the way he used to do, and the signs all say no walking on the grass.
so he sits all alone on a cold hard curb,
watching the autos rushing by. His mom works late at night for Seymour Smith and Smathers, and she hasn't time to make him apple pie. The TV is poor company. He would so much rather be catching fireflies on that hill not far away. How I wish that I could find that boy and tell him of the special joy that comes from making Jesus his friend.
somewhere he sits all alone on a cold hard curb,
Watching the autos rushing by.
That song also kind of part of the idea that's about that song is you don't really know it's a religious song until the very end of the song. That's part of the idea. So start telling ballads in our music, and then at the end it's got a hook in it that's a religious hook, right? So the idea was to try to make music folk music that integrates into the story, into the life of people, and then you integrate the religious message or the message in it that way. So that was what we did with that song. And we'll show you some other songs that we've done since that kind of have that same idea, okay? Another thing that we did about this time was we started touring. We were really on the road, about half the time. On the weekends, we'd take off on a Friday and get home Sunday night or Monday morning or something. And back then, we owned all of our records, and so we carried them with us in a big trunk. You can imagine how much 200 records weighed in a big trunk. But it was how we made a living back then. You know, we'd stopped singing for food, and we were singing for record sales, you know. So, but it made it possible to make more records because, you know, we owned our own records, so we paid for, you know, our own productions.
The only thing I don't remember was school.
Yeah. Well, some of us went to school when we got back, you know. You were always too tired and worn out, so he would take a rest until about Wednesday, go to school on Thursday, then we're on the road starting Friday again. So Don had to take an extra year.
Yeah, well, Friday of graduation weekend, my 5th year. I don't know why I'm telling you this because I shouldn't be
Well,
proud
because
of
you feel guilty and you want to get it off your chest.
Okay, yeah. But Friday morning of graduation weekend, I called my parents in Asheville and said, I'm graduating.
They weren't.
It was questionable.
It wasn't. They hadn't booked the graduation ceremony. Is that what you're telling us?
No, it was booked for my participation, and it was not guaranteed because I was just. You worked us so hard with the music that.
Well, sometimes he wouldn't get on the airplane with us when we came home. I mean, you know, what can I say? He would get attached.
That was Hawaii, and that's true.
Don was very attached in those days to this and that. So anyway, so let's see, what else do we have on? So then after we did about 2 years of singing out of college, we were getting ready to move to California because I was going to go to medical school. And so then HMS Richards Jr. was doing camp meeting tours. And Dale Delker was on his team. The quartet was the A group. We were the B group with Dale. So we weren't. In fact, we were lucky to be the B group actually. But how many states did we go to? Maybe most of Canada and most of them.
What Western U.S. and Canada, as far east as Manitoba.
Yeah.
The Midwest, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Midwest,
Minnesota.
So anyway, that was
Dakota.
a great experience for us because we got to sing a lot. I mean, we were constantly singing, and so now we hit our second 10,000 hours. Okay, that summer doing tours, but we got really close to Dale, and when we got back to Glendale, we did a record with Dale called "Joyful," and one of the songs that we did was with her was "This World Is Not My Home." So I think we should do that one. You want to do that one?
Let's do.
Is that okay?
E flat.
Dell used to call us the Sons and the Pioneer. And we would sing with her.
This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. Treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world. Oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, then Lord, what will I do?
just up in glory land, will live eternally. The saints on every hand will shout the victory. Their songs of sweetest praise will ring from heaven's shore. I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, then Lord, what will I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore.
I can't feel at home in this world anymore.
Kind of a sad sound, but
Dell is still alive, and
She lives up your way. Is she near Bakersfield, Fresno? I think.
somewhere. I think she's 91. Yeah, she was about the age, well, a little younger than our mothers, but she was a good substitute that summer. And she would go bowling with us, and we had so much fun. Just such a fun person. Really lived her Christianity.
I read all of Hemingway's books that summer.
Living below this old sinful world.
This is one of her songs. We do it different ways.
Hardly comfort can afford. Striving alone to face temptation sore. Where could I go but to the Lord? Where could I go? Oh, where could I go? Seeking a refuge for my soul, needing a friend to save me in the end. Where could I go but to the Lord?
Neighbors are kind, I love them, everyone. We get along in sweet accord. But when my soul needs manna from above,
where could I go but to the Lord? Where could I go? Oh, where could I go? Seeking a refuge for my soul, needing a friend to save me in the end. Where could I go but to the Lord?
Life here is grand, with friends we hold so dear. Comfort we get from God's own word. But when I face the chilling hand of death, where could I go but to the Lord? Where could I go? Where could I go? Seeking a refuge for my soul, needing a friend to save me in the end. Where could I go but to the Lord?
Living below this old sinkhole.
This record you were talking about, Come Fall, it's called Revival. And I think we were copying somebody. I think maybe Crosby, Stills, and Nash, or somebody that did this, where you open it up in the middle. That was the new thing, right? So we took a really see this picture of old-fashioned. See how old-fashioned we looked there? We did kind of a picture out of the old days. It's a revival. So we chose on this one just to do standards like Lily the Valley, Whisper a Prayer, Nobody Knows, Abide With Me, songs like that, and Prayer's the Key to Heaven. And we used a guy named, who was a roommate of ours who played piano, so we started introducing keyboard into our music, Revival. And I don't know that we ever did one of these in public. Well, A Mighty Fortress is on here. This is recorded with that pipe organ, right? Lily the Valley.
We did that. We still do that.
Yeah.
Whisper of Prayer, we still...
Yeah, anyway, that was not a big seller.
You already did that stack.
Huh?
You already did that stack.
Oh, I did that stack.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that was... You still don't want to do that song from Newbold, huh? Okay. I thought I already did this stack. Oh.
If I can get a pass on that finish.
Well, Don doesn't like to break up with his high notes, so we try not to push it. This is called Country Church. This was definitely Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. They had a cover just like this, you know.
This was about the time we showed up in Loma Linda.
Yeah. Is that about right? Is that 69? 69. Yeah.
That's these guys' class, 69, 70.
Yeah, you were a junior Bible teacher.
69, 70, yes. Yeah, I'm impressed with how quick your invitation kind of went viral, right? That was what we were always worried about, you guys, when you were teenagers, actually. It seemed to really work this time pretty well.
Yeah, we won't do this song, but this is an original song on this record.
When the man comes knocking at your door, you better be ready for a showing of a secret thing in your heart. You can be sure he's a knowing, for truth has a way of catching up with men, especially when it's too late to begin again. And time's like a dream of one's life it seems. Too soon the story is all over.
We won't go do the whole song, but you can see it's just, yeah, okay.
Well, if literature was too obvious, there wouldn't be anything to write papers about, would there, in class, right? Nancy knows why we did it that way, at least. Right.
Okay, so we also sang Precious Lord on this album, but that's another slow song. It's a slow song, man. We're doing nothing but slow songs here. You want to do a slow song again?
Them.
I didn't pick them. I'm just looking at the albums and see what pops up.
We did a lot of slow songs.
Let's just jump forward and do the water.
The water. Okay, this is a new song we haven't recorded. You want to do
This
that
is like jumping forward 30 years.
No, like 50, well, 45.
one? I wrote this song in the 90s when we were in New Zealand. We were doing camp meetings in New Zealand, and nobody would sing it with me, to be honest with you. I couldn't get my band to sing it with me until last year, and now they'll sing it with me. So you're going to get to hear it.
It was kind of, a last wish of Bob's before he died. He wanted us to do this song, so, I mean...
I've got other wishes that are better than that before I die.
That
Ready? When Peter and the rest of them sailed Galilee one day, storm came up so suddenly it took their breath away. The waves washed o'er the weary boat, they feared that they would perish in the water. Then as they feared all hope was lost, the boats looked from a pit. They heard the voice of Jesus call the waters to be still. And as the mist began to lift, they saw that Jesus walked on the water. The water. Then Peter said to Jesus, it would be such a thrill to walk on the water, prove this miracle is real. Then full of himself, Peter stood and stepped out on the water. Help me, Lord, I'm sinking and I'm getting awfully wet. Son, I think you've missed a step. Look me in the eye, reach out, take my hand, put your faith in me, let your spirit soar, then walk upon the water. What Jesus said to Peter then, ringing through the day. Storms of life come rolling in and take your breath away. It's hard to keep your spirits up, it's hard to keep your head above the water. Stop before you take a step and fall down on your knees. Hear the voice of Jesus from the ragged raging seas. Then look him in the eye, reach out, take his hand, put your faith in him, let your spirit soar and walk upon the water. Oh, put your faith in Jesus when your heart is sinking down. Call upon his name, let your spirit soar and walk upon the water. Walk upon the water. Walk upon the water. Miss is coming back. Folks disappearing. After we did all that singing into the 70s, and we did this album called Dove, right? Dove was out about 2 months, and we did a concert up at PUC. And we didn't look right, and we didn't sound right, and we weren't trustworthy. All of a sudden, we weren't trustworthy. And Rittenhouse, is that his name, Rittenhouse? Good old Rittenhouse was the president. And after they searched our rooms after we left and didn't find what they were looking for, I mean, we weren't absolutely stupid, but I'm kidding. I'm really kidding. No, but he wrote a letter out to all of the Adventist schools saying that we were no longer welcome back at that school. And that was the end of Wedgwood. Okay. We had just come out with this new record called Dove, which we'd worked on. This was a time when Christian radio was getting started, early 70s, and so we did an album that was basically for commercial Christian music called Dove. And at any rate, that Pacific Press was distributing the album. They pulled it off the market. So it's a rare record, really, if you've got one, because it was only out for a little while, and you had to. They kept it under the counter, so it was like a brown wrapped record album. One guy told me he bought it in South Africa like that. You know, it was under the counter. So, but we quit singing at that point. We went to Seed, okay, and kind of went our separate ways, didn't we? Yeah.
For 22 years.
Yeah, 22 years.
Yeah. That was also at the time when I was teaching, at the time when the principal, Herb Johns, he came, well, actually, it kind of saved my skin. But he did come to me one day after class, and he said, you know, I just came from a meeting at the conference office, and they tell me that if I hire you back next year, you've got to shave your beard. So, but then he said, I told the chairman of the committee that when he shows up at my school to deliver the message to you, I'll tell you. And he never showed up. So I had the beard for 2 more years. That's maybe kind of when I was a little stupid. And but that was kind of the decline, you might say, of.
Well, we didn't see each other. We didn't sing together. I don't know what you did. I didn't pick up a guitar or do anything or a banjo or do anything for 20-something years. And then a fella who had been what was his name? He was working at
Rick DeBose.
Huh?
Wasn't it Rick?
He was working at Riverside Community Hospital running the foundation. He said, we'd like to have you guys do a concert. We're going to have a baby boomer type event in Long Beach, and want us to do a concert. So Don had been in Ireland as a missionary, of course, in Ireland playing golf as a missionary. And napping and playing golf and missionarying and stuff like that. But when he got back about the time, and he had a church down in San Diego, didn't you, at that point, when you got back? He doesn't like the way I talk about him, but, you know, the stuff that people really want to hear is us bantering, right, in concerts. We give each other, as they say in Australia, heaps, give each other heaps, heap it on. And but anyway, they talked us into doing about 8 songs or something. So we went back and got together at Jerry's house and rehearsed and did about 8 songs. And all of a sudden, everything woke up, and people said, oh, yeah, you guys are the guys that we used to listen to. And so we had already 9 records. We owned the tape. Oh, I know we'd sold them to Pacific Press, hadn't we? So I called up Pacific Press and said, we'd like to buy them back, okay? So they sold me all the masters for $500, and then we proceeded to remaster everything and put them in compilations. So we had something to sell, so we had to start singing in public, right? So we started doing concerts and went to Utrecht for the General Conference. We got invited to go there, and we sang about 20 minutes there. And our story kind of got some attention because we were what was and now we're what is, and nobody can believe what was such a big problem back then. And the interest level was nice, so we enjoyed that. Don got it went to his head a little bit, so we had to kind of sit down with him and say, Don, you still have to go to work. You got to deal with your church responsibilities. You can't just be a rock star or something.
When we were in Utrecht, we sang a lot more than 20 minutes. We did that one segment on Friday night, but then a lot of mini concert venues. And getting such a positive response from Eastern Europeans especially, and Africans. And so I was across the street from the convention center in a little cafe, and someone came up to me with a camera and indicated they wanted a picture. And I thought, oh, well, finally I'm recognized. And so I sat down with his wife and put my arm around her. And he said, no, you take. And so all through the years, there have been things that have grounded us.
Well, anyway, so we got busy again, and actually got a lot of great opportunities to sing in Australia. So we did a big camp meeting tour there, and then a couple of years later they called us up, and Whitney Phipps or somebody had canceled, right? And they wanted us.
He was there.
Oh, was he there? They wanted somebody.
But there was an interesting experience about that because he was at the same camp meeting we were at. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Yeah. Right.
He can hold a note for like 30 minutes.
Forever, yeah. And so he was supposed to do the main feature music. And we were sitting there, and someone came over and said, he hasn't showed up yet. Can you guys just go on and do some songs? And we just made up the story that somehow he had gotten held up at the barber shop and was really late. And I can see not too many of you know him, do you? Because he doesn't have a hair on his head.
But anyway, the Australians love the way we talk to each other, right? They like that because they have a sense of humor that's very dry, so we kind of fit in there. And so we would go to a camp meeting and spend a week and work all the tents and then do a family seminar thing. We'd have talks about different things because, he's a psychologist and Don's a pastor and I'm a psychiatrist, and we would talk about things, and Don would say, we're really all very much alike. We're here to help people with their problems, and, we make a difference. The only real difference is what we charge, And I would, on cue, respond, yeah, Jerry and I have talked about it, but we just can't ask our patients to give us 10% of their income.
What is it? It's actually closer to 20. Healthcare.
So that's just a little micro description of how it would be. But in the middle of that sort of thing, we'd try to say something intelligent, like talk to each other.
Or I would say they would introduce themselves and their professions. And when I would introduce myself, I'd say, I'm a patient. And
he wasn't telling us, he was just being honest.
A groundbreaking therapy called musical therapy, and if I do well, I get to go home. So...
Anyway, so we did another, that's our third 10,000 hour period of time is when we were doing these trips.
What's 10,000 hours have to do with?
Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He wouldn't have any idea. He doesn't know what 10,000 hours is. How do you know what about this?
I do. You've talked about it.
You've
talked about it so many times, and we all agreed that we.
It took a little extra to pull him into that 10,000 hour thing.
Bob has always been, you can tell tonight, Bob has always been kind of the driving force. And
what he really means is pushy.
one nice thing about now is that with age, he's mellowed somewhat, and so it's.
Well, I got an Epstein-Barr infection, chronic fatigue. Anyway, here's a song that Jerry wrote that we do now a lot. He's got to find he's got 10 harmonicas. The chances of him getting the right one are about 1 in 10.
I should tell you that if you live anywhere near the Tri-Cities or been to that area, this song was inspired on a camping trip there one time. It's called Dry Soul of Mine. There's a river flowing free in the desert, and its waters gentle and mild bring strength and love from the heavens above, and it flows on for many a mile.
It winds a green path through the valley, on to the ocean beyond. It gives itself freely to world sick and needed, to all who come to its side. So roll on deep river, wash over me with your life-giving love. Ooh, roll on deep river, bring life to this desert, life to this dry soul of mine. And the children played down by the river.
We usually have a fiddle player in this part.
And they bathed in its water so pure. And the Father above, he looked on in love as the hosts of all heaven drew near.
Then the Spirit moved over the water, cleansed them without and within.
And Jesus rejoices, the angels in choruses shout hallelujah, amen. So roll on deep river,
wash over me with your life-giving love. Ooh, roll on deep river, bring life to this desert, life to this dry soul of mine. Life to this dry soul of mine.
I left the group in 1969, so for me it was 23 years before we got back together again in 92. And so many times through the years I would dream that we were singing, and I would wake up and I would just be so sad. It was just, it's been such a wonderful experience, such a blessing. And 25 years ago now, in '92, when we got back together again, we jokingly said, next time back, we'll do a nursing home tour. And tonight is our inaugural concert.
I don't like to hang out with old people myself. I think it's a lot healthier to hang out with young folks.
Yeah, but they don't want to hang out with us, Jerry. You ready for Healing Hands?
Healing Hands. Yeah.
This is a song I wrote. Cheryl, my wife, had, some of you knew Cheryl. Cheryl had breast cancer, so she had gone through a stem cell transplant. And one of the things that we were doing was a research, taking part in a research project to build up her platelets. You know, so they were given something that's probably used now standard. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, we had to go in on a Sunday for an examination. It was going to be done by the nurse because Sunday was not a regular day to be open, and so she showed up. And so Cheryl and I were there with this nurse. And this nurse said, you know, I'm a nurse and I'm here to do this step in your study compliance, but I'm also a healer. And she says, I lay on hands. And she says, I'm willing to lay my hands on you if that's something you're comfortable with. And so Cheryl and I, you know, looked at each other. And when you're fighting breast cancer, you're not going to turn down anything really that's not too ridiculous. And so we agreed to that. And it was really amazing, the energy. I don't know if you've ever seen something like this, but you could really see energy flowing from that woman into Cheryl through her hands. Now, maybe she was just vibrating, I don't know, but there was at least a perception of energy, okay? So as we were driving home, I wrote this song that I'm going to sing for you.
Jesus was in town, people came from miles around to touch the robe of the man from Galilee. He'd made a blind man see, cured a case of leprosy by laying on those healing hands. They'd see him one by one and hope that something could be done to mitigate their pain and suffering. Through the great physician, he took away infirmity by laying on healing hands. Hold on, hold on, healing hands. Hold on, best you can. When Jesus' earthly work was done, his healing gift was passed along to some who follow him until this day. Through prayer and faith we believe, fear and sickness are relieved. Hold on, healing hands. Hold on, best you can. Hold on, to healing hands. Hold on, best you can.
I guess we ought to start wrapping it up, right? You want to go home? It's almost 9 o'clock. Most of you, I know. You're in bed by 9 o'clock, aren't you? Particularly all the men with their shirts out. They've got... You notice how the men wear their shirts out now? It just happens to work out that way, doesn't it? Now they've got a whole line of shirts that are for men who wear their shirts out that aren't all the way out, right? They're just out enough that doesn't look so much like you got your shirt out, but you're covering up what you cover up when your shirt's out. Right?
All right.
You need to write a song about shirts out. What do you want to say?
Let's before we get any sillier, let's do let's do "O Sinner Man" and "Shall We Gather at the River."
Okay. All right.
Big finish.
You know we haven't done Summer Sun.
I know.
We can skip that. Okay, so
This song was from Alan Lomax's Folk Songs of North America, from which we got a lot of songs, especially secular ones. "O Sinner Man," and this goes way back for us before it was popularized in some movie.
it was in that record.
Oh, brother, where art thou?
Yeah, it was in there.
We recorded the song in 1966. And then...
I thought that was on our first record, wasn't it?
Right,
It was.
Yeah,
that
so
would
we
be,
were forward-looking.
right.
And we were a lot quicker back then. We could play this song a lot faster than we play it now. Believe me. Something about youth and speed, or old age and slowness, depending on how you look at it.
We start off fast. We lose momentum.
Can we do that?
I got that in us.
Yeah. Don't waste it here.
Oh, sinner
Save
man, where you gonna run to? Oh, sinner man, where you gonna run to? Oh, sinner person, where you gonna run to?
Really forward-looking there.
All on that day. You can run to the rocks won't you hide me? Run to the rocks won't you hide me? Run to the rocks won't you hide me? All on that day. You can run to the sea was a boiling, run to the sea was a boiling, run to the sea was a boiling, all on that day. You can run to the Lord, won't you hide me? Run to the Lord, won't you hide me? Run to the Lord, won't you hide me? On that day, you can run to the devil. The devil was awaiting. Run to the devil. The devil was awaiting. Run to the devil. The devil was awaiting. All on that day. Oh, sinner man, you ought to been a praying. Oh, sinner man, you ought to been a praying. Oh, sinner man, you ought to been a praying on that day. Oh, sinner man, where you gonna run to? Oh, sinner man, where you gonna run to? Oh, sinner man, where you gonna
That's the Big Finish song.
That reminds me, I'll be preaching tomorrow morning at Los Alamitos in Orange County. And all sinners are welcome.
This is a very special church, actually, Don. You ought to tell them a little more, I think. Los Alamitos, you said?
Los Alamitos, it's at the racetrack, just off Catella. We are actually in what was the clubhouse for the golf club that was on the property there. It started off as a church plant about the time I retired, and I've been half-time with it. We started with 18, and now we have 115 or so. If you remember Sabbath School Investment, what we have done is to buy a couple of horses, and the winnings.
It's a lot more fun, isn't it?
The winnings go for Sabbath School Investment.
What was that horse that won that was from there?
California Chrome. I don't know. We passed on that one. I wish we had. But yeah, our track is the home of California Chrome. And I got to meet Chrome, and
is that a kind of a good horse?
We were mutually impressed. I think. But I love actually behind the racetrack or to the side of it. There's a village of 800 people, 1,200 horses. Just so many stables, and a lot of horses during the recent fires found a refuge there. But I love to go back to the stables and just do my best horse whisperer imitation. Such beautiful, beautiful animals. But yeah, it's so nice to. I guess horses don't constitute a flock, but it is nice as a shepherd, not fully retired, to have a flock.
Well, you could think of yourself as a jockey, kind of riding that horse all the way to heaven or something.
I was looking for one more sermon illustration for tomorrow. That's it.
I got to tell you the story of this album, Dove, okay, before we sing our closer. Dove, when we got blackballed, we took it off the market, and we stuck it in my cellar, okay. Under my house, I got a place where I keep old records. So we kept it down there for about, I don't know, how many years, 30 or 40 years. And we were invited back to sing at PUC, okay, about 2 years ago, right? And somebody who had recognized what had happened said, why don't you re-release this album as a CD? We didn't decide to do it. Who was that?
It was someone who just contacted us kind of out of the blue, lives up in
it was kind of he felt sorry for us,
Idaho somewhere.
Yeah, and he said,
Ken Jays. Yeah.
He said, I'll put it together. So he put together the album. So the CD. So we went up there, and everybody knew that Rittenhouse had kicked us out of the school. It's just part of the story of Wedgwood and PUC. And so we get to the part where we talk about what we brought, for their consideration. I tell them, look, we've got this album that we had here in 1974, and it wasn't really ready for listening. So I put it in my cellar, and it's aged now. And we brought it out, and we brought it with us, and we think it's ready for listening. You can buy it tonight, right? And we sold a ton of CDs that night because they were ready for listening. So there's always another chance at everything, right? In fact, if you ever get discouraged in life, just take another go at it, and maybe another 10,000 hours is what it takes. Who knows?
I'm going to maybe jump the gun here, but Nancy, let me just tell them, I think there's a bag or something on the way out that's got a few little goodies. And in the bag is going to be a live concert that we did at the University Church 5 years ago or so. Anyway, it was called the Forgiveness Concert. And it was poignant in some ways. We went back, when Bob was describing, we went back to PUC for one of those concerts. His daughter had been a student there the previous year or two. And he had to confess that he had been sneaking on campus to visit her because the ban hadn't been lifted yet, see. But the president at the time was Maxwell.
I thought it was Rittenhouse.
Well, I mean, went 20 years later.
Oh, okay.
And he came forth and to the front, and he officially lifted the ban. The ban on Wedgwood and PUC, and so there's a lot of those kind of forgiveness stories here in this particular concert. There was another concert we did in Fresno or Sacramento. Somebody came, Lodi, yeah, came. A guy came up to Bob and he kind of took him by the collar. And he said, "I owe you an apology." He said, I really was angry at you guys 40 years ago or whatever, and I said some bad things about you, and I want to apologize for that. I wasn't really a very happy person in those days, he said. So again, there are a few little poignant forgiveness stories here about the whole idea of
I thought we were forgiving them for...
Well, it works both. It does have to work both ways, right?
It's kind of a bilateral forgiveness concept.
Right. You can forgive people, and sometimes they're not ready to forgive you, right?
Look, we don't deserve any forgiveness because we did nothing but sing our hearts out, and we were blessed to be able to do it. So, I mean, it was just a great experience for us to do that, and it still is. I mean, we do a concert about every 3 years now, and it's still pretty good.
Shall we gather at the river where bright angels' feet have gone, with its crystal tides forever flowing by the throne of God? Sing it with us. Yes, we'll gather at the river. Saints at the river that flows by the throne of God, that flows by the throne of God. On the margin of the river, washing up its silver spray, we will walk and worship ever all the happy golden days. Sing it out, let me hear you. Yes, the beautiful the throne of God, that flows by the throne of God. Soon we'll reach the shining river, soon our pilgrimage will cease. Hearts will quiver with a melody of peace. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river, gather with the saints.
the throne of God, that flows by the throne of God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're all probably not all going to the Adventist church anymore, but I bet you're all part of the Adventist family, aren't you? Yeah. That family that we formed when we all go to school together, that's where it starts and it stays there. We're all part of that Adventist family, and it's a wonderful thing. So enjoy it, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.